Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm not at my normal spot, but I'm hoping by the time we're done with this video, you guys are going to have enough information to take away with you. Now, what are we going to be talking about? Well, we're going to dive into what's hitting the marketplace. Granted, the markets are closed, more specifically the stock market. We've had some tensions overseas escalate, so I'm going to be talking about that very shortly. But we're also going to be diving into Ethereum today with regards to what's going on. The ETF has been approved, and yet we're not really seeing the movement coming into play with Ethereum. Today, it is trading positively, so I'm going to be sharing some insight with you all on a specific altcoin that could be getting ready to make a move also. So make sure you stick around for that. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get with the program and let's have a look at what's been going on. So we get it all cleared up with this attack that's happened in Israel, which is not exactly good news, but unfortunately in the line of work that we are all in, especially in the marketplace, or should I say speculation, there is opportunity. When there is a war happening, it usually means that money is being spent to service this war. Well, what do we mean by that? Oil. Now, not so long ago, OPEC had declared that they were going to be cutting the supply of oil exports. Now, that's not really been coming into play in terms of the price of oil, but oil has actually started to climb up. As you can see in the chart, we moved away from the lows of 76 and we're gunning towards the 78.50 zone. Now, you may or may not have heard about this situation with China and Taiwan. Check this out. China has just recently released a video of them simulating an invasion on Taiwan. That doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? What, you want to try and show your force? Regardless of whatever the motivation is for them showing this video, okay? It's going to start making investors get a little bit on edge. Maybe China's trying to play the card that the US, granted, is putting US sanctions on China. You've got to remember, China is the biggest consumer of US oil. Their economy already is struggling. They have a housing crisis, or should I say a property crisis, not to mention the Evergrande, which that thing has been, or the CEO has been called in for fraudulent behavior. It's like China is on tilt. Now, go back into oil's price. If we look at this, we think, well, if China's not consuming the oil, then what does that tell you? Well, it means that we are in geopolitical situations right now, which is naturally going to be moving investors into safer havens. Now, logic would say that we're going to see the advancement of the dollar. We're going to see the advancement of the US bonds, but China's stopped buying US bonds for the past 7 months. So that's not really good for the US government. Why? Because the US relies heavily on foreign investors to pick up the US bonds. Where can you see that representation? Well, if we go over to the 2-year bonds market or the 2-year yields, you can see that yields are being offered right now at 4.9%. This is important. That means if you have $1 million and you want to put it into somewhere, you can give it to the US government and you'll be able to net yourself 4.9% on a 2-year bond. That's important for investors overseas. But if investors overseas, especially China, have not been picking up US bonds, that's a problem for the US. The US doesn't want domestic liquidity. It wants worldwide liquidity to come into the US. The ECB recently declared that they're getting ready to cut interest rates. That's good news because that means the cost of doing business is going to be cheaper in the Eurozone. But you've got to remember, when the US starts cutting interest rates, that's when the Eurozone, that's when the UK itself is going to start following suit. But in this instance, the Eurozone is saying that we're getting ready to cut interest rates. But the US has got a different tone. You see, the US right now is relying heavily on data to come out to suggest that they should be cutting the interest rates. What investors are looking for in Wall Street is the same behavior that the Fed increased interest rates back in the day. They're expecting the same thing to happen when they cut. That's not the case. You see, the story of the soft landing coming into the play with the US economy is as long as the economy in the US is doing well and it's absorbing the high interest rates, there is no pressure to actually cut as aggressively as the world, or should I say, Wall Street wants them to. Well, right now in the space of crypto, we're seeing danger as a wave of crypto influencers and celebrity X accounts are being hacked. Look, man, if Caitlyn Jenner is shilling a coin, naturally you want to be like, whoa, when was Caitlyn Jenner in the game of crypto? This is how I look at it. If a celebrity starts saying, yo, buy a crypto coin or buy my project, buy this, buy that, I think it's safe to say that we have been stung relatively well in the past with celebrities pushing coins. Now, they're saying here that it's all part of an orchestrated string of attacks, but people will fall subject to it. Please stay away from these sort of things. You might be lying in bed on your X account flicking through and they're talking about a coin that's hit already a market cap of 113 million, in this instance, Caitlyn Jenner's coin. You're going to be compelled to go over and see what the cost of that coin is. It looks cheap enough, so you might chuck a couple of $100 on that coin. Don't do it. It's a waste of time, okay? Pay attention to what's going on with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to consolidate inside of this range, which is where the update for my Bitcoin holders and my Ethereum holders is going to be revealed right now, I would say you want to be paying close attention to what's going on with the bids and the offers on Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is moving up ever so slightly. Earlier on today, we've just seen a bid in Bitcoin which showed $18.97 million worth of Bitcoin has been purchased around the 68,455 zone. If you use this chart, you want to be mindful so that you can assume that if they've been buying Bitcoin inside of this consolidation area right here, which is around the 68,700, going in down at the lows at the 68,300, logic would assume that we're going to start seeing a wave of selling coming into play with Bitcoin. When I mean selling, I'm talking price going to the upside. Yes, if you are new to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like and subscribe, because I help as many people as possible understand that when prices are rising of an asset like Bitcoin, it means they are selling the Bitcoin. You only just need to look at this chart and zoom in and pay close attention to what's been going on as of late. So this move to the upside has triggered sell orders coming in. We've just had a sell at 69,000 that has only been triggered by 4%. So that means only 4% of the original order of 14.51 million has been transacted. So we could assume later on that if price comes down and then price starts to come back up again and try and test out this 69,000 zone, we're only going to assume price is going to continue to move up from that point. So just be very mindful with this chart. When price goes up, they are selling the Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin can break higher, it would mean that there is a wave of investors coming in buying the Bitcoin, but they are being sold to. Now, the peak of this move to the upside, we would assume that if Bitcoin can continue this move to the upside, we're going to want to see them stop at this 70,000 zone, which leads me up to an important view for the holders. Right now, Bitcoin is consolidating sideways and it's below the 70,000 zone. If you pay attention to the 70,000 region, you can see it right here, 70,000 to 178. You can see that Bitcoin has peaked once, twice, and 3 times above that point. And of course, this is the all-time high around the 73,074 zone, okay? Market makers in principle are going to be building their longs inside of these ranges right here, okay? And the idea is that if they are getting ready to break Bitcoin higher, we're going to see a flurry of liquidity coming into the marketplace as Bitcoin starts to move up towards the 70,000. I would expect Bitcoin to try and peak out towards the all-time high, spike above it, to then come back down into a consolidation zone. I'm looking at the 60,000 and the 70,000 zone for Bitcoin to be the accumulation range for Bitcoin holders, okay? Why? Well, if we go over to the Bitcoin dominance chart, you can see Bitcoin dominance is going down. Naturally, we expect the altcoin market to start making movements. We go over to Ethereum, you can see Ethereum is doing very well and it's locking in these gains right here. We had this volatility right here, but it's looking like it's holding out in anticipation to break above that key 4,000 zone. If Ethereum starts to really gain traction and Solana follows suit, then we would assume that the altcoin season could be getting ready to come into play. That means Bitcoin dominance goes down, altcoins going up, because the practice is that if Bitcoin dominance goes down, we naturally expect investors taking money from Bitcoin and going over into the altcoin market. Well, it's the flip side from my perspective, because when you think about it, when Bitcoin's price goes down, it means they are buying it, right? So if it starts to work its way up, then it means that they are selling it. So what we're really looking for is we're looking for Bitcoin's dominance to continue to go down. We want to see Bitcoin, or should I say Ethereum, continue to move up, and of course Solana to move up, and all the rest of the altcoin market to also follow suit. One altcoin in particular you want to pay attention to is Matic. Now, Matic has been doing fantastic, especially in relation to the Bitcoin dominance chart. If you go over and add the Bitcoin dominance chart to Matic itself, if we just do that right now, you can see that when Bitcoin dominance goes down, Matic in principle should be moving up. So if you just go back in the charts, you can see over here that we have got Bitcoin dominance down, Matic climbing up. Bitcoin dominance down, Matic up. Bitcoin dominance down, Matic up. But what we're seeing right now is Bitcoin dominance down, Matic is holding. So in my opinion, we're starting to see a flurry of bids coming into play with Matic. We just go over to the bids in the office chart and try and search for Matic. You can see that Matic right now on Binance, we have got relatively decent amount of bids coming into play for this. We've just had 426,000 coming into play at 0.71 on Matic. But when we go into the higher timeframes and look at it from the perspective of the daily chart, we're then going to get a good idea of where the liquidity could be generated. Look at what's going on. They are buying the Matic, and we have not yet had a wave of selling in Matic. So anticipate that if Ethereum starts to climb, altcoins in principle will be looking to climb also. You want to be getting involved in these sort of areas, okay? Because if they've stopped with the wave of buying Matic, as you can see, look, right here, we've had 744,000 traded at the 90 cents mark. And then at the lows right here, you can see that we've got 418,000 traded at the 70 cents mark. But now all of a sudden, it seems to be disappearing. So that could mean that we are effectively getting ready for a wave of altcoins to start marking higher. So please consider that if you're going to start loading up on altcoins, pay attention to altcoins that are basing out when the bigger picture of the marketplace is doing other things. For example, Ethereum getting ready to mark up. Bitcoin dominance is going down. Logic would say that Matic should be getting ready to move up. You want to find altcoins that are showing this sort of behavior and stick to altcoins that are actually showing good volume. Don't go to coins that are being released by Caitlyn Jenner, whether they are hacks or not, okay? Just be very mindful with it. Now, one more important thing. For my holders of Ethereum, if we go over to Ethereum right now, and especially with regards to what's going on with the actual ETF itself, we haven't yet had a significant move on the back of this ETF getting, or should I say, going live. If we just quickly flip over to the leverage ratio across all exchanges, you can see lots of people are using leverage right now in Ethereum because they believe that the Ethereum ETF is going to start making Ethereum's price going up. Going back into the actual liquidity for Ethereum, we'll just go over to here and just search Ethereum and look at the bids and the offers. Can we be of the understanding that Ethereum is actually getting ready to break higher? Well, look, we've got this massive, massive pool of liquidity right here where investors are looking to sell their Ethereum, okay? Leverage investors, look, investors right here loading up on Ethereum, okay? So they're speculating that Ethereum is going to continue higher. So lots of money is being borrowed in exchanges. Go back into the chart of Ethereum and we can see that lots of investors are selling that Ethereum, okay? And you can see already that there's waves and waves of liquidity coming in. And as we go closer and closer, you can see that we've got a nice pool of liquidity here at 3,992. When it hits the 4K mark, that's when you're going to see a climatic move to the upside with Ethereum. Don't buy it. Wait until it corrects back. In other words, wait until you see Ethereum actually clear that 4,000 mark. So we'll just go over to Ethereum, quickly search that, hit that, and wait for Ethereum to clear the 4,000 because you're ideally looking for Ethereum to prove the move to the upside to then come back in, correct in this area, consolidate, go back into the bids and the offers and anticipate that inside of this zone right here, when it's broken the 4,000 mark, as it comes back down, you want to see the same commitment of buyers as price comes down. So you made it this far, mad love and respect for passing through. And if you are new to this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing videos like this throughout the week, just before the market opens. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get updated on where we can expect Bitcoin to play out throughout the rest of the week. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love and respect. And I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow. Peace.